Our forecast is all mild and sunny thanks to Hurricane Florence, which is going to be making landfall in the Carolinas and causing major destruction. The latest in your ABC 57 First Warning neighborhood weather forecast. ABC 57 News starts right now.
Live from Michiana, this is ABC 57 News at 5.
Please do not let your guard down.
A monster storm stretching hundreds of miles, about to crash right into the East Coast.
This is a powerful storm that can kill.
Hurricane Florence already sending howling winds and fierce waves across the Carolinas, forcing millions to either hunker down or get out of town, including a South Bend couple.
They gave us a phone call in the hotel room telling us that it was required to be out of the hotel by noon.
As the coast braces for a historic hurricane.
The waters are already churning. Here's a live look at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina for you as the outer bands of Hurricane Florence start swirling overhead. And the worst of this storm is certainly yet to come. Thanks for joining us on ABC 57 News at 5. I'm Brian Connie Bear.
And I'm Brianne Pomerini. We do have a whole team keeping an eye on Hurricane Florence and its impact. We'll start with ABC 57 First Warning neighborhood weather meteorologist Tyler Seabree and the latest update from the National Hurricane Center just minutes ago. Right, Tyler?
Yeah, Brianne, that is absolutely right. We just had a new update come in from the National Hurricane Center, and what it did was keep the winds at about 105 miles an hour. Things are still looking extremely dangerous here as we're going to hopefully switch maps from our current temperatures, which are nice. I mean, 70s are pretty nice. It's not a bad day here. We'll have more on that with Tom in a second. There we go. There's Hurricane Florence. This is a very, very large storm here. As I said, 105-mile-an-hour winds, Category 2 storm. So it's certainly still a very, very large and dangerous storm. Just because it was downgraded from Category 3 to 2 does not mean you should take it less lightly. Here we go. It's going to make landfall likely around Wilmington, North Carolina tonight into tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. Then the problems really come in. It's going to stall in northern South Carolina. So it's going to sit in this area for upwards of 2 to 3 days, dropping rain and causing extreme problems in terms of storm surge and inland flooding. Here's the threats here. Wind is in the purple, very, very high. Extreme impacts for inland flooding, coastal flooding, and storm surge and tornadoes. There's already been a few tornado warnings. That threat will be pretty substantial as well. Look at the rainfall. This is just one forecast model here. We're showing anywhere from 10 to 30 inches of rain. That is a lot of rain. We might be breaking state records in North Carolina and South Carolina for the most rainfall ever due to a tropical system. So certainly a big-time flooding concern, and it's going to be a problem for the next several days. Now, continuing our team coverage, ABC 57 First Warning neighborhood meteorologist Erica Horvatine got some insider perspective from someone who's experienced several natural disasters. Erica?
Yes, today I talked with one of the experts of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or as we call it, FEMA, and she's been through several hurricane disasters, including Katrina, and she thinks that storm surge and flooding will definitely have the worst impacts on the Carolinas. Now, many organizations, including FEMA and other volunteer groups from Michiana, are down there in location across the Carolinas, in locations that will be safe to store resources and then outsource them as needed. The wind's getting stronger and the waves are definitely getting bigger as the outer bands move in and the eye approaches. And if you would like to help these people who will lose their homes and many of their irreplaceable belongings, FEMA expert Brenda Phillips says not to donate items, donate money.
One of the best things that people can do is to donate cash to an organization that they absolutely believe in. The worst thing we can do is usually to gather up stuff and try to get it to a site. Places that have disasters are inundated by donations. It's often called the second disaster. We can send money and organizations can spend that locally to get the economy going again and get people back to work.
Now, anyone can donate or volunteer for these organizations, and you can find a list of those online by visiting the National Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster website. It's a long name, but I'm going to be posting that in my web story on abc57news.com. Live in the newsroom, I'm ABC 57 First Warning neighborhood meteorologist Erica Horvatine.
And the hurricane is also impacting people right here in Michiana. ABC 57's Tiffany Salome talked to a South Bend couple whose first vacation in 23 years was cut short when their hotel in Myrtle Beach evacuated.
was cut short by 4 days.
It was Andrea and Roger's first vacation since their honeymoon 23 years ago. The couple were among 1 million on South Carolina's 187-mile coastline ordered to evacuate. They are now making the 16-hour drive from Myrtle Beach back to South Bend.
They gave us a phone call in the hotel room telling us that it was required to be out of the hotel by noon. They were in full-out preparation mode.
The outer bands of Florence have already hit the Carolinas. Although Florence has weakened a bit, it is still a threat to those on the coast. Officials warning residents that if they don't evacuate, no one will be able to save them.
A lot of times people think that just because the storm has been downgraded that it is not going to be as impactful, and that is not the case with Florence.
ABC 57's first warning neighborhood weather meteorologists are calling for heavy rain, flooding, and storm surges of up to 13 feet. That would mean homes would be buried by water. Andrea and Roger say they're bummed their vacation was cut short, but they're still happy they won't be caught in the storm. When they left Myrtle Beach Tuesday, they say the weather was beautiful, but that is not the case anymore. This video shows heavy winds and waves building up today in Myrtle Beach.
There'll be vacations in the future. It was our first time to Myrtle Beach, and we'll go again.
Hopefully next time it won't be during a hurricane. Tiffany Salme reporting there. Another potential impact for people here in Michiana from this storm is flight cancellations. Already, more than 1,000 flights to and from airports along the southeast coast have been canceled. So far, none of them at South Bend International are directly affected, but that could change as we head into the weekend. Double check with your airline if you're flying to make sure your flight isn't being changed, delayed, or possibly canceled by the storm.
And people here at home are doing everything they can to help out potential hurricane victims on the East Coast. A business owner in Dowagiac is collecting donations to bring to the Carolinas. He's asking for first aid kits, food, sleeping bags, gas cards, and other emergency items. You can drop them off at 146 South Front Street in Dowagiac.
And in times of emergency and chaos, false information spreads very quickly. That's why FEMA has set up this new Hurricane Florence rumor control website. It actually addresses dozens of false stories that may be flying around online. For example, it discredits talk that service animals are not being allowed in hurricane shelters. If you have a question about something you heard out there, especially online or social media, we'll post the link to this website at abc57.com. And we'll continue to keep an eye on the hurricane as it makes landfall. Stay with ABC 57 throughout this 90 minutes of news and in the coming days as we track Florence's impact both on the East Coast and potentially here at home.
Locally, though, our weather is staying very quiet and mild, at least up until this point. We are expected to warm up as we go into the weekend, but more 70s in the forecast for the rest of this evening. We'll settle into the 60s tonight, but skies are pretty clear across the area. Take a look at temperatures in the mid-70s, the hour-by-hour forecast. We go from the 70s into the upper 60s by 9 o'clock. Keep this in mind, sunset now is before 8 o'clock. It'll start to get dark by 9. Now, things are pretty clear across our area. You can see the visible satellite picture. Florence, though, will have an impact on our weather. These are big storms that disrupt the entire continental weather pattern. We'll talk more about that coming up in my full forecast in just over 10 minutes.
Right now, Benton Harbor police are teaming up with the Berrien County Sheriff's deputies to try and end the recent gunfire plaguing the city.
City officials gathered today to unveil a plan designed to, quote, stop the violence and stop the silence after 3 shootings injured 4 people on Tuesday night.
ABC 57's Carla Rodriguez is live at Benton Harbor City Hall where the announcement was made today. Carla?
Yeah, Benton Harbor now has a plan set in motion to help combat the recent gun violence. They're teaming up with Berrien Sheriff's deputies to put more manpower on the streets to not only help residents feel safer, but to send a message.
Stop the violence. Stop the silence.
Police, pastors, and leaders coming together for peace.
So we have to work with our ministers. We know that ministers touch families, touch a great part of the population. Work with our apartment managers. We need to get back to reestablishing our block clubs through forming programs. We want to work closer with our businesses and we want to work with our schools. In our area schools, charter schools, Mears and Wells, in our community.
Berrien County Sheriff's deputies are donating $8,000, adding to the $25,000 Benton Harbor commissioners are investing in the project immediately.
And the Administration Committee of Berrien County committed $25,000 in addition to what the Sheriff's Department has to pay overtime for deputies to come in to Benton Harbor and work.
Benton Harbor Mayor Marcus Muhammad says when compared, the 4 deaths per capita per 10,000 people in Benton Harbor is equal to 1,200 deaths in one night in Chicago. Residents can expect to see more sheriff's deputies roaming the streets of Benton Harbor starting tonight.
Well, just a reminder, despite the mayor's comparison, none of these week's shootings were deadly, but they do tell ABC 57 that they're still on the lookout for these 4 suspects, but they're stressing the motto, see something, say something. Although they're still not sure that these crimes are related, when I get that information, I'll relay that on to you. Reporting live in Benton Harbor, Carla Rodriguez, ABC 50 News.
New details now on the investigation of Bishop Kevin Rhodes, the leader of the Catholic Diocese of Fort Wayne, South Bend. Today, the district attorney in Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, announced Bishop Rhodes has been cleared of any wrongdoing. Last week, the DA confirmed his office was investigating an allegation from the late 1980s about a, quote, odd relationship between Rhodes and a young man. The DA now says there is no evidence of anything improper, and the person who reported the relationship did not witness any criminal or improper conduct by Bishop Rhodes. The 19-year-old in question, identified only by the initials JT, was behind bars in 1988, and his mother asked Rhodes to visit him. They also traveled to Puerto Rico together for community service after JT was released, but the DA says nothing improper happened there either. In a statement, DA Francis Shardo said, quote, "This has been a case of a public airing of mere speculation of impropriety with no foundation. In this case, the leaking of what turned out to be an unfounded report did unnecessary harm. This has done a disservice to actual victims of sexual abuse. It has also caused significant and unnecessary harm to Bishop Rhodes," unquote. And some charges have now been dropped against a man accused of bringing a gun to the South Bend airport. Anthony Pilato is now only charged with 1 misdemeanor, entering a controlled access area of an airport while possessing a firearm. Pilato allegedly told police he forgot he had a loaded handgun and ammunition in his carry-on bag. He was originally charged with possession of a controlled substance as well, but later investigators determined he had a valid prescription for the pain pills he had on him this week.
New at 5, a park in South Bend is holding a grand reopening today to show off its new and improved look. The renovation of Kelly Park on Howard Street was led by the Notre Dame Robinson Community Learning Center, and it features all new benches, sidewalks, landscaping, basketball courts, playground equipment, fencing, and a picnic shelter. The city will hold a ribbon cutting tonight at 6.
A South Bend dad outraged after his young son was left on a school bus for hours.
They don't see any fault. There's no fault here.
Now he's demanding to know how it happened and what the district is doing to prevent it from happening again.
Our skies are staying clear. I'll tell you why Florence will keep it that way in my forecast.
And problems at the Oliver Apartments, a multi-million-dollar project aimed to help the most vulnerable homeless. But is it working? And more importantly, is it safe? I'm ABC 57 investigative reporter Clifton French. Coming up on ABC 57 News at 6, the surprising information I uncovered from the police department and reaction from the mayor, all in a detailed report.